your kit, you have a mixing tray, part A and part B of the chemicals. You'll add water to this when you get it. This is our little plastic beaker. You're going to add about 50 milliliters of distilled water to each of these. This is 2 pieces of acrylic with some clips so you can smash your design so light won't leak through the sides. This is just a transparency that has a gradient on it. So if you wanted to test your exposure, you could do increasing amount of time exposed and make sure you have the whole range of exposure. This isn't necessary, but if you want to experiment, that is something that you can use. There is watercolor paper and postcard paper, so 4 of each. There's your sponge paintbrush, and there is just a little stir stick if you need to stir. The amount that you'll make here is enough to cover a lot more than just this paper, so you can experiment with your own paper, and I'm excited to see what you come up with. It'll also include instructions with a little bit of history. You'll also get a light safe box that has magnetic closure just to keep everything nice and dark until you're ready to expose it.
When you get your kit, the first step is to add water to each part A and part B into the bottles. You'll use 50 milliliters of either distilled or tap water, depending on if your tap water is hard or not. I recommend distilled water, but tap water seems to work just fine. And then you'll shake it, shake it, shake it. I recommend waiting about 24 hours before this next step just to make sure it's all dissolved. And you have part A and part B, and you're going to use equal parts and only mix up what you're going to use right then. Part A and part B separate have a really long shelf life. Once they're mixed, they don't. So equal parts, part A, part B, and a little mixing dish, and you'll give it a little swirl. And then you're ready to paint this photosensitive material onto your paper. So you can use watercolor paper, you can use an absorbent paper. You'll do some experimenting and find what works best. The papers that are included with your kit are ones that I've found work really well. And I'm doing nice long strokes, but can you see how it's pooling at the bottom there? I don't want thicker areas of emulsion and then thinner areas, so I'm just continuing to spread that out with long strokes to try to get a nice even coating. I like leaving a white border. You don't have to. You could do whatever floats your boat. And then once I get an even coating that I like, you're going to pop that to dry somewhere that is nice and dark. Now, this whole time I'm working somewhere that is in pretty dim light. There's no direct sunlight. And I'm going to pop it in our little light safe box here to dry. Once it's dry, you are ready to expose it to light and make your print. And this is how many I was able to make just with that small amount of solution. So it goes further than you think. Now you can use sunlight. I use this UV light because I'm a control freak and I like things to be consistent. And so I have experimented a bunch with how much time this takes, and this is continued experimentation with this print. I've got a piece of glass. Your kit has a piece of acrylic. I just already had this. And you have my coated paper, and I have a transparency of a bat over it. And then I lay the glass on top just to smash it down. Now, with this distance, I'm still experimenting, but I did this for 45 seconds, I believe, total for my exposure time. And then once it's exposed, you can see the part that was exposed to the light turned a like kind of a grayish blue. I rinse it, and it's going to rinse out all of the green that was not exposed and leave behind the Prussian blue, the part that changed color because it was exposed to light. And this is just water. I just rinse it in water for about 3 to 5 minutes. Now, this isn't perfect. I don't love it. I don't love that the parts that were supposed to not be exposed, covered by the black bat, are blue, which means they did get some light to them. So I think that means that my exposure time was a little too long. This next step is totally optional, just speeds up the process. It's just another little tub of water with a splash of hydrogen peroxide. It just turns those blues bluer faster. This will happen over time though. But I made another print and I shortened my exposure time. And here I am after rinsing. Now I'm popping it in my hydrogen peroxide. And I like this a lot better. The parts that were blocked by the transparency of the bat are nice and white, but you can still see those midtones between the wings. So this is my preference for exposure time. This was 40 seconds at about 2 inches away from my light source. And so this is what I'll stick with for my next few prints.